Yo, adwumire nso ɛda mo ase. Sɛ bere bia mofa ɛberɛ na mo ne era one ɛdi dwumadie saa bere so ɛnyɛ ɛnɛ adwumire deɛ ɛyɛ special program. The first time a yɛyɛ program at this time ɛnie yɛ ananka health program no sii yɛ a na anka yɛde aba na awie. But ɛnɛ nyame adavroma yɛasan de program foforɔ ɛsa abrɛ mu wei de ɛyɛ real estate ɛho asɛm ɛna nnɛ yɛbɛka paa na ne nyinaa ne sɛ nyame ayɛ adom ɛnɛ adwumire nso yɛnya yɛnnua baako wɔ ha a ne ɔno real estate agent baako a wɔno nso wabie mu yie paa yɛ nɛ yɛne no ɛbɛtwetwe nkɔmmɔ na wɔno so n'anim deɛ kakra a ɔwɔ no wɔde aboa anaasɛ waka ama yɛn nyinaa yɛnyɛ emu nteaseɛ na afei nso adesua bi a ɛwɔ biara no wɔde aba na yɛn nso yɛsua emu adeɛ yɛda wase bebrebe sɛ biribiara no wofa ɛberɛ na wo ne yɛn ɛbɛtwitwi saa nkɔmmɔ yi nyame nhyira wo sɛ wofa ɛberɛ ɛnɛ deɛ ɛyɛ real estate ɛno nti me nkyɛn wo koraa no mene sɛ me nua no ayɛ krado nti mede bɛto da no so na afei yɛn ɔmɔ didie no anaa yɛn kɔmmɔtwe no yɛasɛ yɛde ahyɛ aseɛ
Kɔsoa no te Era One Radio mpanyini sɛ yɛnsoma na mɔtenten yɛsoma banyasafo Era One Radio yɛde nsɛm anomuayɛ
yo atiefoɔ yɛda mo ase sɛdeɛ medical ɛde ato dwa no yɛ nua ɔpanyin Solomon Oppong Antwi ɛnɛ ɔno na yɛne no ɛbɛtwetwe nkɔmmɔ ɔyɛ real estate agent ɔno na ɛnɛ yɛne no ɛbɛtwetwe nkɔmmɔ me nua Antwi mpakyɛ yɛ mo akɔ ababa Era One TV so Era One Radio so ɛnɛ anwummere.
Thank you, Dr. Otis.
Yep.
Abusua
obiara ho te sɛ wɔ hɔ.
Nyame adom Dallas for obiara ho yɛ.
Oh, yeah,
Na mo mo te sɛ.
Yes, you ho pa. Long time no see you.
Yes. A long time.
Nyame yɛ adom ɛnɛ anwummere yɛde ayɛ. Wei deɛ mepɛ sɛ atiefo me nnie ne bebrebe. Mepɛ sɛ wo ankasa wo introduce wo ho na atiefo hu sɛ yɛka sɛ ɔpanyini Solomon Antwi ɔno kora ɔno ɛne hwan na afei yɛnhyɛ ase ɛntwetwe yɛn nkɔmmɔ no.
Yɛka Solomon Oppong Antwi a ɔyɛ obi a menyini wɔ Ghana ɛnsɛ mahyɛseɛ no mekɔ Valley View kakra. From there no na me nya kwae na me ba school wɔ Purdue, and then from there I went on to go to Cornell University. They say me a real estate agent at Dallas area. I just said, you see new building, you turn new build, use a new building, a boy month for more investment. Basically, say boy say create generational wealth for themselves and their family. In Tianuna, I've been doing for the last 3 years. But prior to that, it was just a passion, just advising people, say, acquire okay, over first over top down, and then the passion turns into a business. And that's what I've been doing.
That was a baby. And then I said, yeah, can I need you and a chicken come yeah, the number no ebe to la no so say wa asem bi say obetimi say wona na obetimi aya obetimi afresh a number no na onso enkomo a ebe twetwe no onso wetimi about 510931 0946 no so obetimi afre ana say wetimi o text message by o WhatsApp so obetimi akai na afei ati40 ama nkomo de ade akọ nanim say ene ebia wɔkyena na wɔn nsa bɛka nso a wɔn nsa ka bɔmmɔden na hyɛ link no ɛma obi ɛsɛ bɛyɛ a ɛbɛboa ma asɛm a yɛka ne ne no atimi akɔ akyiri edisua yɛsua ne no wonua bi ana ɔdɔfoɔ bi nso de ɛnsa ka saa message yɛbɛsɛ wɔn nko a wɔn nsa bɛka ɛno na ɛbɛboa sɛ bɛyɛ a deɛ yɛnua no ɛde ma yɛn na anwumere no ayɛ ade a ɛbɛsombo ama me ne wo mmienu nyinaa na maame mo sɛ wo mensa ka book bi.
Yeah.
Yanka book no asem kakra. Ya real estate no ho asem kakra. Yanka was a journey to financial literacy.
Yes.
Actually, mama ya yentiminti as you wetimi ati as a journey to financial literacy. Eba na say na just say ka book no asem the title no what happened?
Yeah, Dr. Otis. It's a book. It was a problem I kept running into. Growing up back in Ghana, no, Meko Valley Kakra, and then I just kept running into the same problem. Money was always a problem, growing up. Money was always a problem. I mean, you think about it, the average person, how many hours do we even spend at work? The average person spends about 8 hours a day at work, right?
Mhm.
Within the week, it takes you maybe on the average, maybe 5 hours or maybe 3 hours, right? So if you look at it, right, most of our time, we spend earning money, but a lot of people don't understand how money works, So I didn't really think about it that way until I started when I became a real estate agent. And then I will meet people, maybe they want to buy a house, but they will tell me, oh, maybe my credit is bad or maybe I don't have the down payment. And it was an issue that just kept coming up. So the issue with me was, I grew up, my mom and dad trained me in such a way that if there's an issue, you find a problem to it, you find a solution to it, right? Um, a wise man once said that, I look around for the things that I want, and if I see that nobody has created it, I create it for myself. So that was kind of how the book came into being. So looking at the same problem over and over, and then I was looking on the market. There wasn't a book that was very simple for people to understand. So then I came out with a book, Journey to Financial Literacy. Basically explains your personal finance in a very simple, understanding way. So that's how we came out with that book. So basically it talks about your personal finance. We're talking about budgeting. We're talking about credit. We're talking about, investing in the stock market. We're talking about, trying to create generational wealth, real estate in a very, very simple way that when you read it, you're not going to get bored. And that was the motivation behind it.
Actually, when I realized that you've written a book, I was thinking about before I had a copy of the book. I
Right.
was thinking that. So, is it what kind of book is that? Right? Imagine I
Yeah.
have to think about it. So, in my conclusion, I thought, okay, it might be a real estate. How to purchase a house. That kind of processes. But after I had a copy of the book, I realized it wasn't about that. It was about personal finance, like finance. So I said, "What is going on?" Let me. So it was pushing me to read more about it. So how
Right.
a real estate agent start writing a financial, personal finance book. That was so. My question is, what's push you instead of the way I was thinking? What pushed you to write something about personal finance instead of real estate? Because this book, I know you're a real estate agent, but the book that I have here, it was when I went through it, I said I didn't see any much about real estate, but I was seeing finance, personal finance. So why? What happened?
Yeah. So I mean, you think about real estate, right? Real estate basically is personal finance. Back in the day, the government wanted to create what we call the middle class. So they came out and created a structure such a way that you can buy a house, and through the house you'll be able to become a middle class. And a lot of people that don't have good credit and stuff like that, they are not able to buy a house. So what happened was, like I said, every time you run into people that don't understand personal finance, automatically they can buy a house. So to be able to encourage people or help people buy a house, they have to understand personal finance. So that's how the book came about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you now will mention something that middle class. People are listening, they also be listening. How do you classify the people to be a middle class? And what's the definition of the middle class? So that me who say whether I'm a middle class or I'm a whatever, first class, second class, or whatever. How do you classify them so that I will know my level, whether I'm a middle class, maybe where I'm going or where I'm heading toward.
Well, I mean, you look at US, right? Daddy, Jono just hit me in the eye. You look at US. We have the poor, we have the middle class, and then we have the rich, right? So the poor basically is people that are barely making it, you know. And then the middle class are the very basically educated people. They are doing okay, but most of them are, they have nice house, nice car, but they are kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And then you have the very rich. Those are the people that own businesses and employ the middle class.
1%. Yeah, maybe that's a woman from at the top 1%.
Basically.
Then I based on that, I assume say then the middle class is the larger population, the largest one
Yes,
among
they take care of everybody else. They pay for the rich, they pay for the poor people. And unfortunately, they shoulder the burden of everybody. If the middle class was, if we were to classify them, I would say, man, they take care of everybody but themselves, right?
for anyway, solo and a twitch and come
Yeah.
and the book no has na introduce no kakra say be beti the all ya say, but me pese ye ban the background and then ye general question ye yɛbɛsan ba bio mu a yɛbɛpick no one after the other. A real estate na ankasa and the personal finance no we'll pick them one after the other. Na wakɔ detail na yɛsua den kakrakra sɛ bɛyɛ a yɛbɛhu n'ani so paa anaasɛ wopɛ sɛ wotɔ fie wopɛ sɛ woyɛ den koraa na woahu steps bi a ɛsɛ ɔfa nti nnɛ deɛ yɛyɛ nyinaa deɛ yɛ try to introduce yɛnnua solo ɛna dwumadi a wɔdie. Nti ɛma ne house bi a asɛm bi na nka wɔpɛ sɛ yɛbusa yɛnti mu sa nyɛ ɛma wɔ nyɛ ne nkwa na ɔbɛba yɛbɛsa na ba ha biem because real estate no mene sɛ ɔno abɛdi ho adanse sɛ ɛyɛ ade ɛso sɛdeɛ wɔka finance bi ɛyɛ ade ɛso nti sɛ so deɛ a then yɛbɛfa no kakrakra na wɔbɔ mmɔden aboa yɛn mo a mopɛ sɛ motɔ fie waka middle class na middle class no so nti mene sɛ woka ho wonyɛ sikani a ɔnsa nyɛ hiani buruburu deɛ na woyɛ middle class. Onye sikani billionairefoɔ no ne wɔn no deɛ a na wɔka saa kuo yi ho wɔn ne majority ɔse wɔn nso na wɔn ɛhwɛ ahiafoɔ no ɛtua sikafoɔ koraa tax ɛsan dɛ ɛsan ama wɔn. It sounds funny. Yeah, ɛno nti ɛne hɔ na yɛne yɛn nua ɛtwitwe nkɔmɔ nti no ma yɛn mmra ne background kakra woka sɛ wokɔ Valley View.
Yes.
Na Valley View no wode ma yɛmfa mfiri wɔ mmra na yɛmmra yɛbɛduru baabi. Valley View what happened? Ɛna wode bɛpia abɔkyire Valley View no ayɛ deɛ hɔ ɛna ne we want to know.
Dr. Otis, that's a long story. I mean, well, I'm sure you know the story. So I went to Valley View, and then whilst I was there, basically, I the school fees was too expensive. I couldn't pay it, so I had to find a way to cater for myself. So I think I was there for like a year, going to second year, and then I basically bailed out. I ended up in America. And yes, I thought I was in search of opportunity. Basically, I thought, man, I'm coming to America. Everything is going to be great, And then I landed here as an international student, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Ghana will have been better than coming.
Exactly. So at that point, it was more of like either you swim or you drown situation. So that was kind of how my journey really began,
Okay.
and started studying about finance and why are some people doing well and some people are not. So I became a student of studying about money, investing and stuff like that. Because at that point, like a wise man once said, only you can take care of yourself and nobody else. So when I read that, I was like, wow, I really need to get this thing straight. It's not that our parents are bad parents. They did what they could, right? With what they had. So for me, it was, what can I do to be able to leave a legacy for the next generation, which is our kids that are coming, right? And even the Bible talks about the fact that, a wise man leaves, a legacy for his kids, like inheritance for his kids. So basically, so that's how I started diving into it, because at that point, I had nothing. And if you had nothing, you have nothing to lose. So that was how I got started, really.
Right. Let me ask you a question based on what you just said. The question is, what's it? You start learn between why people, some people are doing well, others are not.
Right.
The question is, after you are learning or after you are studies, what after you are set, what did you get? What did you find? What's the magic in it? Why some people are doing well, others are not? What did you get?
After learning, reading so many books about personal finance, about real estate investing, what I learned was, it's not how hard you work, but it's how smart you work, right? And what I also learned was that the people that are doing well, they don't do what everybody else does. The 98%, 99% of people, we are taught that you go to school, get a job, and then you work and you retire. And then if you're lucky, they give you a gold watch, right? you know, from my research, they don't do that. The people that are doing okay, and it doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter what church you go to, it doesn't matter how smart or how dumb you are. They invest in what we call asset. And they invest in asset like real estate. They buy stock, you know, and those things they appreciate. Why the 98% of people invest in things that depreciate, like very nice cars, or they want to buy the most shiniest things that lose value quickly. So those are some of the things that I learned. And if you read my book, those are some of the basics that I give in my book, you know. So
My man said almost a question once. I'll mention book and then let's go back to that. So the question is,
okay.
why do you think we should read this book? I didn't think I open say you can't book. Why do you think we should read the book?
Well, it's very simple. I mean, how many hours do we spend at work to earn money? There, a nurse, if you're a nurse, you spend about 12 hours a day at work. You only spend about 3 hours on Sunday or Saturday at church. So if you look at it, you're basically worshiping money. Why is it that they don't teach you at school? And I don't mean to, blaspheme or say anything bad, but that's a reality. Why is it that they don't teach these things at school? Because they don't want us to know. So what I have taken is I have taken all these things, I've broken it down, I've distilled it and put it in a book so that when you start reading, you're going to get the fundamentals and then you build on from there. Because if you don't have these bases, there is no way you can get ahead. And it doesn't matter what kind of degree you have. I've seen people with, PhD. I've seen people with different degrees, and I've seen people who have no degree and they are doing well, because it's all about mindset. The way you think, the way you use your money, and the way you understand how finances work. And it's totally different from what you're taught in school. And my book teaches you that.
Yo, atiefo ye nua solo ana ye ne atwetwe nkɔmɔ yi ɔka ne book no asɛ watim wakyerɛ deɛ nti ɛwɔ sɛ ohwehwɛ opɛ book no kyerɛ kwa menim sɛ aseɛ kɔ no akyerɛ bɛma no akyerɛ baabi a opɛ book no bi a wɔn nsa ɛbɛka saa nwoma no bi na wɔn nso wakae anaasɛ wasua na aboa deɛ nua no asua ɛfa personal finance ɛho ɛna wɔtintim de ato wɔ no sɛ bɛyɛ a me no mmienu nso no yɛbɛtumi a ɛnya emu nimdeɛ yɛda n'ase bebrebe sɛ wɔde saa adwuma yi no ɛde ayɛ ama yɛn ɛno nti yɛbɛma ɛberɛ so a bɛma no aka baabi a book no yɛbɛnya bi wopɛ bi aka yɛ a ɛne sɛ ɛnɛ deɛ wobɛtumi anya no abɛɛfo ntentan so baabi a na wo nso woahwɛ mu bi na aboa wo yɛda so a ɛwɔ era one radio so Rand TV so mo a mohɔ yɛ firi Facebook ɛna YouTube nyinaa yɛda mo ase sɛ mugu so a motie yɛn yɛyɛ real estate papa yi ɔyɛ real estate agent enti ne nimdeɛ kakra ɛna ɔde atintim nwoma bi ama yɛn a yɛka ɛho asɛm kakra na sɛ de kan kan yɛsɛ no de yɛbuebue so anaasɛ yɛka no kakra sɛ yɛintroduce de yɛyɛ nyinaa akyire yɛbɛka no bɛpeke no maako na afei watumi abaabaa mu ama no akɔ so na ma memu sɛ was how do we create general wealth because sɛdeɛ yɛwɔ kan nyinaa no real estate no akwasa akɔyɛ ne ho personal finance.
Yes.
My yes. Question is how do you create general wealth? So
yeah.
Now we are another question. My person will say, what's the difference between the real estate and the personal finance? So which my classifier and second what my question that would be good, but whichever comes first, we'll appreciate it.
Yeah. So let me answer the real estate and general personal finance. So real estate and personal finance is very intertwined. So you take real estate is a subset of personal finance, right? So your personal finance basically has to do with the way you manage your money, the way you invest, the way you plan for your family. Like, let's say you're not there today. Are your family going to have enough to be able to survive? So they are not going to be begging money from other family members or people. And as you know, I mean, nobody has money in America, right? So real estate basically is a subset of personal finance. Okay. And the second question was, can you come again? The second question was real estate.
Yeah, I was talking about hold on, you mean
generational wealth, right?
Generational wealth, yeah.
Yes. So the second question was generational wealth. How do we create it? For me, there are different vehicles that you can, create generational wealth. And I will advise anybody here to talk to their investment advisor. And most of these advisors, when you go see them the first time, they will be so happy to talk to you, and they are not going to charge you anything. And for me, what I will advise you, the easiest way you can do it is you can start with your 401k. Start with your 401k. Most jobs, when you go to most jobs, they will give you a 401k. So I will start from there. I will take the most that I can, because most companies are willing to match you. And once you do that, create an personal finance plan with your partner, or if you're single, just do yourself. That, okay, every month or every 2 weeks when I get a paycheck, this is how much I'm going to pay myself. And based on that, you can use that to invest, right? And once you do that continuously and you have enough money, then you can say, okay, hey, maybe I'm going to buy some real estate or some asset that's like real estate. And what you can do with real estate is you can buy a house and then rent out some part of the house to maybe some friends or family member, and then they will help you pay your mortgage. Like when you go live in an apartment, what you're really doing basically is you're helping your landlord pay his mortgage. That's all that they're doing. And before you can do that, you have to be able to educate yourself. So I will start with education. Once you educate yourself and you understand your risk versus reward, at that point you're not going to be so fearful, because I feel like what keep most people back, especially immigrants like us, is the fear factor. They say, oh, I want to buy a house, but they are so scared to take the chance on themselves that they would rather take the chance on somebody else, their landlord. They go live in an apartment and you just keep paying rent. And I'm not saying that it's bad. Sometimes not everybody can afford it. But if you can, I will advise you that would be one of the easiest way to build wealth. So whilst you live in it, there's a term called house hacking. And I want everybody who is listening to me to write it out. House hacking, basically, you can buy a house today, you put zero down, and then 1 year later, you rent that house out, go to the next house, put another zero down, you don't pay anything, and then go to the next house. One person can do up to 10 homes. So let's say you have a family, you have friends, you have brothers and sisters. You guys can come together. All you need to do is just get a closing cost, maybe $3,000, and you can just keep buying and just keep learning as you go. Theodore Roosevelt said, the only man who doesn't make mistake is the man who does nothing. The man who does not make mistake is the man who does nothing. And you're going to make some mistake, but you learn, as you go. And once you do it over and over and over again, you're going to be good at it. So good at it that, and with that, you'll be able to build something that you can transfer to the next generation.
Good. Yeah, that was super great. My memory will say,
Uh-huh.
as a real estate agent, do you
Yeah.
work with both buyers and sellers?
Yes, I do. I work with both buyers and sellers. People who want to. My specialty is mostly like building new homes.
Okay.
I also do help people buy used homes. And then one of my joy is investing, because when I help people invest, I feel like I'm helping them create generational wealth. You know, so I do everything real estate. Single family home. You can buy duplex. Duplex is like where you have Ghana, it is a friend of bungalow. You have a home, one family is living on one side, another family is living on one side. There are so many ways you can go about it. And with the help of internet right now, information is out there. All you have to do is Google. you know
Okay. My
yeah.
miss Musa question you, yeah, obi a person ye busa fa that we a
Oh,
real estate agent there. Ye busa say in Ghanaian community, that's African community, no. And
yeah.
most ade you know omo na e konti be say omo no na omo etime ete what we are doing, I say. So now
Okay.
the question is, obetimi person o my me person me tofie, what is the process? If I want to buy a house, what is the process? How do I start it and how do I end it? If you can give out with me a detail how is you see a tough if somebody out there wanted to buy at least what you mean said they okay what 10 and 1K. Now what after the I turn it I couldn't name kakra.
Yeah.
So I create kakra. Na wakai say open say uka sa no wabɔ mmɔden ayɛ the next step and say a sort of fee. So now what is the process? How
Yeah.
is the process
So
to fee?
I will give you the quick process that can help you buy a house in the next 3 6 months.
Okay.
The first thing you need to do, if you are watching me and you want to buy a house, I want you to look at your credit, and basically you need a credit that is 640, your FICO score, 640 or more. If you don't have that, what I want you to do is, wherever you live, and I'll put my number on here, or you can get my number. I will just say, I will let Dr. Otis put it there, and you can call me. You just call an agent and say, hey, I want to buy a house. The first thing, you need to fix your credit, because in America, without credit, you cannot do a whole lot. You need credit for everything. And then the next thing you need to do, once your credit is 640 or more or good, is you need to call a real estate agent. It doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are, New York, Colorado, Washington, Maryland. Call a real estate agent and tell them, hey, my name is so and so. I'm trying to buy a house. What do I need to do? And the real estate agent is going to help you get what we call pre-approval. Pre-approval is basically it's very simple. The bank is going to pull your credit that I told you to fix, and it's going to say, okay, you qualify for a mortgage. And they're going to tell you this is how much amount you qualify for. You qualify for maybe a $500,000 home, or $600,000, or $300,000, or $200,000, depending on where you are. And then after that, the real estate agent is going to help you buy the home. That's all you need to do. If you can do that within the next 3-6 months, you can be living in your own home. I don't know if that helps.
What man is the American and than you. But said Mozikana, so I said down to nothing, down to nothing until I'm say, because people are saying it's not easy to buy a house. It's not easy to buy a house.
Well,
Why are people always say that? Because
well,
the way you explain it, it makes it easier. But in reality, people are saying if you thought it's difficult, it's not easy. What do you think is the cause, and why do people say that?
well, Dr. Otis, this is what I'll tell you. Whatever you focus on magnifies, right? If you think it's hard, it's going to be hard. You think it's easy, it's going to be easy. Some people will tell you, man, it's hard to go to America. And then you got up and you say, hey, I'm going to go to America. It doesn't matter what these embassy people tell me. I'm going to give them every document they ask me, right? Because you wanted to come here. The same thing, if you want to buy a house, yeah, they're going to ask you for a lot of documents, because they want to make sure that you be able to pay for the mortgage, but if you find an agent that you're willing to listen to the agent, what they want, they can guide you get a home. It's really not that difficult. And it's a team effort. Your agent and then your mortgage guy, which is the bank, will tell you exactly what you need to do to be able to qualify. But the problem is a lot of people, they get so scared and they don't want to listen to that, and they're like, oh no, it's so difficult, so they just block their mind. But it's really not that difficult, and it's also how you think about it. If you think about it that, hey, I'm trying to build generational wealth and I don't want to pay my landlord's mortgage, then obviously it's going to be easier, yeah. So
Yeah, one there might be beside this question here. Say,
yeah.
am I a mindset on that? I have to say we don't even think to that level because say information be Eddie can that. Say
Right.
toward the a dime toward the a basapa you won't mean in quite na waka sɛ mekɔ akɔpɛ process na wakɔpɛ deɛ na ka deɛ de ɛwɔ because ɛnyɛ about tirim sɛ ɛdan tɔ ɛdene da me
Yeah.
ɛdan tɔ de deɛ paa na ɛwɔ mu ɛnti ɛma no yɛdene ebia ɛmɛ sɛ wɔde kan ka baakɔ sɛ credit
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the line so credit ɛyɛ dɛn ɛwɔ fam a wontumi ɛnqualify for mortgage no so na
Yeah.
menim yɛ na wɔn ɛsa mention down payment. I didn't tell down payment. I didn't tell no deɛ because down payment is a bit so can say down payment budget into ontimi move because ebia na we need down payment no. So
Well,
because down payment say they working down payment yes be akọ for 1k be da ho. If I move 20,000 whatever you know and yen so ye level ye account for nye nyina na ye adwuma ye nnwuma ahodo a yeta etieti for 1k most of us adwuma de yenti for 1k no. And
yeah.
what is your advice and how do we, you know, sir, maybe sir, what do we do?
So if you don't have a down payment, the first thing I would do is when you call your agent, tell him, "Hey, I don't have a down payment. I do not want to. I do not intend to use a down payment." And then he's going to tell you, "Okay, call this bank that does mortgage and see if they can qualify you for no down payment." Right? There are so many programs out there, but the thing is, if you don't ask, they're not going to tell you. You know, they have government assistance programs that will pay for your down payment. They even have government assistance program that will pay for what we call closing costs. Closing costs is basically when you're buying a home, there's some small cost that is associated with it. It's like maybe between 2,000 to maybe 4,000, depending on the value of your home where I live in Texas, you know. But there are programs everywhere in every state that will pay for all these, but you're gonna have to ask. And if you call them and the worst thing that can happen is they will tell you, "Hey, I don't have that program." But I can guarantee you, if you call like on 2 or 3 banks, one of them will be willing to work with you and help you get your house. Yeah. So
Yeah, my memosa this question, yeah, na a man for a little bit. Maybe my main kind of say, oh, the memosa whether complicated or whatever,
okay.
my memosa. Now, a personal finance investment and now
Yeah.
investing, right, including real estate. Now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Ghana for we are Ghanaians and we live here, and then uh, uh to say what 2 year for what real estate, you know, say me. I know a big thing is subject to discussion, but
Yeah.
tell us your mind or what you think is appropriate. At the right time, we can pick this set topic here to treat it. But you move be ha
Mm-hmm.
to see a okay. Obi adwene ɛyɛ ne na start to think. Me wa pɛ sɛ ɔkɔsi fie nso wɔ Ghana ɛna wɔwɔ America ha nso. Yeah,
Yeah.
sisi a wɔka efie tɔ yeah big creative wealth. What do you think? Buying a house here, United States, or buying a house in Ghana?
Yeah.
What is your take? What is your advice? Deɛ ɛhe na ɛbɛboa mo yɛtumi creative wealth a yɛka ho asɛm. Yɛtumi invest. What do you think? We pɛ expertise wɔ ha. Na aboa ne
Well,
yɛahwɛ where to go.
well, for me, it's really, there's not a very straightforward answer
Right,
because everybody's situation is very different.
right.
Some people are coming from homes in Ghana that everybody back home depends on them. So obviously you got to take care of those people back home. But if you are coming from a home that you don't need to take care of all those people back home, I would say build over here because you're here 99% of the time. When you go to Ghana, most people, the maximum time you can spend over there is maybe 1 month. So why go build a house over there when you're going to spend most of your time over here? Especially when your kids are over here already and they are not going to maybe move back. That being said, I mean, if you still want to build there, you can take your time and build, you know. But at the same time, you can also buy something here while you're here. And then while you're doing your project back home, whatever you're living in or whatever you're renting out can be making money for you. And then when you're ready to move, you can sell that one and make a tons of money and take that money to invest back home. Because as you know, I mean, in Ghana, the real estate market is just starting to pick up, right? I mean, if you rent a house back home, which I mean, I rented a whole house for my mom back there for like 10,000 Ghana, which is like $2,000, you know. But here, you can rent a house a year where I live in Texas, like not so great area. A whole year is like maybe $20,000. So if assuming you are the landlord getting that money, do you think you can do something with that money? Can you invest that? Can you take that money and invest back home? Of course you can. So it's just a matter of how you want to do it. So really, there's not a very straightforward, but it all depends on how your investment criteria. For me, I have decided that, I mean, I'm not moving back to Ghana in a very short time. I'm going to be here for a long time until at least I retire. So I'm going to do most of the things over here while I'm here. And then once I decide to move back to Ghana, I'm doing some project there, but it's not a very big project. But when I decide to move back to Ghana, then I will do the big project because in Ghana, I mean, unless you have somebody that you really, really trust, sometimes, things are not very, you can, the value of things is not very straightforward, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, somebody will charge you for cement that is maybe $5. Somebody will charge you $10. So all those things it eats into your profit or whatever money that you're sending. So it's just one of those things. But for me, it kind of depends on what you want to do long term. Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much. Abusuafo, ɛnɛ de yɛse yɛne yɛn nua Mr. Solomon Oppong Antwi ɛna ɛtwitwe nkɔmmɔ yi. Program yi ɛnɛ ne first time a yɛhyɛ aseɛ. Yɛnhyɛ da nyɛ program memenda anwummere sɛ ɛfiri nɔnso kɔ biara sei da. But we are fortunate sɛ yɛnya yɛ brother yi a ɔno nso ɛkyerɛ real estate ne nimdeɛ a ɔwɔ ɛna watwerɛ book A Journey to Financial Literacy. Watwerɛ saa nwoma yi a ɔbɛka ho asɛm bi a ɛwɔ no wobɛtumi akɔpɛ akyerɛ kwan na aboa wo sikasɛm mu financially sɛdeɛ wokora bɛfa so a wobɛtoto wo sika na ɛno koraa bɛboa mu ahu sɛ ampa wo nso wobɛtumi asesa wo lifestyle as with reference to wo sikasɛm ho. Nneɛma bi hɔ a yɛayɛ ntaa nhyɛ no nso yɛadwene yɛ sɛ but a ɛsiane sɛ yɛnnim ho nimdeɛ na yɛnnim ho ayi bia nti no deɛ obiara bɛka bia na ɛdi akyire ɛnɛ yɛka question bi sɛ sɛdeɛ amanfoɔ sɛ dan tɔ ɛden but ɔhwɛ sɛdeɛ osi kyerɛ mu na it makes so sense and it's so easier provided sɛ one thing to make it right sɛ o credit score ɛbɛyɛ okay the rest no biara no there's other way around there wobɛtumi awura mu a sɛ down payment whatever wakyerɛkyerɛ ne nyinaa mu ɛno nti bɔ mmɔden biara na bra yɛ disua yi biara no hyɛ ma wo nua bi na obi so ɛnhyɛ ma obi na ɛmmoa wobɛtumi afrɛ yɛ number no so for question bi a ana ma me musa question baako before yɛto aso no
Yeah.
question bi a obi nso ɛde aba ɔse sɛ ɔpɛ sɛ wɔtɔ efi a what are the factors and I was looking for before we make it up so to feel there na what are some of the factors hwehwɛ ansa na why to one more.
Yeah. So there are so many things that it's over. But basically, say be our family, depending on say be our uncle school, ABS or school no, say school no.
Okay.
Yeah, school no a good school. So normally say school no, but be our thought down say school no a good school. Yeah, na a madan value no kosoro. So yeah, and obviously location. In real estate, we have three things that we focus on: location, location, location. Location, no, basically what it means in the say, there baby a woto dan no hwɛ sɛ ɛhɔ yɛ baby a amanfoɔ pɛ sɛ ɔmo tena. So ebi a wokɔ baabi dan no ayɛfo paa but wobɛdu hɔ na amanfoɔ tutu boom 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 boom. You know?
Ghana ni mpesa.
Yeah. Ɔmo tutu boom boom a. Yeah, ɛnyɛ Ghana fo nko a. Ɛsɛ mo sɛ yeah, wokɔ paa na wotɔn a obi antɔ dan no. Wobɛnya problem. Nti that's one thing, you know. And those are the very key things that you need to look at. So we need color now, obviously, and there. No, you just focus on location. Say, hono, baby, hono you neat area, hono a good area. Obi evet na hono ma unya problems. Mumfo should too, and I say, ho you hood, and I own a no. But other than that, you know, and now ABA, ne pro ABA, and yet we know the third thing on yes so and yes so important, but unya here ABA a shopping or be a Walmart. So major brands a Walmart, Target, BBT say Kroger, been around that area. Since that menwa rest me a friend of food desert. So but maybe as a whole new area, Nasa I up and coming there, okay, because those things are going to catch up to them on home best at your building. But say be a old area, not say be a old tar. That's a minor thing you can also look at, but it's just so very important. So yeah, and you know that's what I look at. So me black client more to house. So those are the three main things that I tend to focus on. The school, you make sure no so more on color. If you school district good. So a good say American Hano, rank school no.
Right.
Most schools ranking based on 10. Or we a teacher, so you probably know more than I do. You know, in the 10, normally I don't want it to go below like 5.
Right.
So say below 5 okay, because sometimes not a change kakra. If you are about 5 now, 6, 7 now start to form so but a quiet 2, 1 near not one color and you're good so but obviously if you want so not school be a school in your but a area man for person mutina so because you have shopping mall in your money and obviously so phone say one color no be school and you go ahead and buy it. But if that thing is very important to you there and make sure say catch your agent and say, okay, we go share agent now, they will have a meeting with you. Be a Kwame. Let's have a meeting. No, share. And then the other thing is try to find somebody and say Ghana for no. Yeah, not your problem be say, yeah, be beer, yeah, can't so
As 7 wako bozui.
one can't but sometimes it's good to a good soul share and because we know be in papa here in your one as a very scientific.
Right.
You have your credit, you have the money, the down payment, or if you don't have the down payment, that's a bank down. There's no way say now. So and there's no superstition whatsoever to this. So indeed you'll be at Tobia and I say beyond Ghana maybe that's why agent I will encourage you say at least and then you come say okay hey when I'm best me a quite bene befaso na me yeah okay me making mistake. So yes it will be to your own benefit than say you just go around maybe I'll a mistake in every and sign later on. Yeah, so those are some of the things. Right.
Normal factors be young fiancana, yeah.
Right.
To that level to say, but who say, okay, Maria, me per school, but anti mania area. Another, then the follow up question here said, Say me to house dear na me makonya bi me to ha hwe dan mo dear na me nhwe e wo dan no so ama see nya dan no ankasa ana say dan bi e me sa na nai na me ye to within a single room to sing on story kwa I say omodo ba kwa cheche. So what do I have to look for? Dear na me hwe e wo dan na me kwa akoye no.
Yeah, so when you're dying, okay, almost say maybe on your four rooms. I mean, right now in this market, the market is so crazy, sir. You know, a dano, maybe okra oka when you been wato. Baby, when you assume is when you're four. Now you have to choose between a year. This is what I will do. I will ask my agent, the empower me, you know, in terms of resale. I want you to write this down. Resale value. Which one will give me the most for my buck?
Okay.
And I say in terms of value, which one will I get the most for my money? You know, if you ask your agent that, they will be able to tell you. The
Oh.
second thing you can ask is Obi Awato Dani Bida, right? Ebi Awadam for B, and I said, Ebi Obi Anene church, Wato Dani Bida. You can ask them and say, okay, hey, Koku Wuto Dani Bino, how was the process? What do you think about this one? So, but and then after that, you know, ABI they will write what we call a contract. The tuna enipano edane de anojia. I'll always entreat you, say, you let them do what we call an inspection. An inspection is where they send a professional to go in the house and they're going to check the house to make sure that everything in the house is working okay. The major things like the AC, the foundation, the roof of the house, and you know, all those things are working in order. If they are not working in order and there's a defect to it, make sure say either they're going to fix it before you move in, and I say you have to back out, you know.
Yeah.
And depending on where you live. I mean, obviously, if you live in a place like New York, any area where the house are a little bit older, we don't have that problem in Texas because most of our homes are a little bit newer, you
It's
know.
a taxes for dinner must that mononqua.
Yeah, but so those are the things I'll look for. I'll do an inspection, you know, and then after that, after you get an inspection report, discuss with your agent, you know, and your agent will call you and say, hey, this is what they found in the inspection report. This is what's wrong. This is what is wrong. And then from there, no, you can send a report to the seller and say, okay, hey, this is what we found. Can you give us money to fix those things? And I said, can you give us money towards to reduce our cost so that whilst we're moving, we'll be able to fix it if it's nothing major. But if it's something like AC or heater, and that's a foundation, yeah, and that one I would tell you to be careful, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Yo. I think for Mogusana Muti any solo and eating. The next question manya obede Abraham answer say.
Hmm.
So tofi na ohia answer back.
Okay.
Is it old here? Yeah. Or say oboso tofi na fie no oboso oto when you when say onto new house and answer onto old house. Or then colleagues in Mekai, they say auto old house and a year and a cheap to new house. You know, we are the number be a real estate agents.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much or margin? Oh, yeah, professional. Over so who say, me to feed that na ye and answer me to a fearful fro and a year.
You know, what I always tell people is start with your budget. You know, how much can you afford? Once you start with that, how much you can afford, work your way backwards. You know, ABI, you say a month, I will be able to afford maybe 1,200 and I say 1,500 a month, right? And then based on that, you know, you talk with your agent and say, okay, this is how much I can afford. And then from there, no, if 1,500 is how much I can afford, what can I, within this market or this town I live in, no, what can that buy me? Right? What can that buy me? So send me all those homes that I'll be able to pay 1,500, including new homes. And if you can get a new home for 1,500, I will buy a new home, in a heartbeat. Because if you buy a new home that you can pay that amount, then you don't have to worry about fixing so many things. The difference between a new home and a used home is that when you move into a new home, the repairs is less, but it doesn't make the old home or used home any less, you know, uh, it doesn't make it less. It's just that if you move into a used home, sometimes it's like a used car. Sometimes things break down and you're going to have to fix it. But it's okay if that's all you can afford. I will not stop buying a home because you're going to buy a used home. You know, I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I think that yeah, but because now, yeah, and I'm out for it. Look at the pros and cons on both the used house and then the new house.
Right.
New house and definitely the cost will be higher than the maybe the old ones. And the old ones, the price might be lower, but there might be other consequences. Say, over more some repairs, But the new house in the said the watch and everything is new. So
Right. Right.
yeah. Now, the next question was I say me person me to new house,
Yeah.
right? Me deɛ menim yɛ sɛ wokɔ a ɛdan no ebia mfa sɛ deɛ yɛasiesie wɔ awie foforɔ no a yɛtɔ biara anya nkɔ mu no
Yeah.
wokɔdu ɔmɔ sɛ ebia ɛboɔ no yɛ 500,000 anaasɛ 400
Mm-hmm.
basic the standard
Yeah.
price ni afei wokɔduru afei na yɛbɛkyerɛ wo sɛ apart from wei no deɛ sɛ wopɛ sɛ yɛyɛ wei yɛyɛ ma wa so hunu
Yeah.
afei na yɛpɛ sɛ yɛde yɛ ha yɛ saa nɔmanoma sɛ mekɔ no esi hɔ a ɛyɛ sɛ megye concession mema yɛ upgrade dan no ma me anaasɛ me keep no that standard level no a ɛna ɛyɛ.
Well, so obia on a preference, right? Some people want to live like a king, and some people want to live very minimal. So it kind of depends. Like, if for me as an agent, if you're going to buy a new home, the only thing I would advise you to do really is maybe update the kitchen.
Okay.
Get an upgrade for the kitchen and maybe the master bedroom, the master bath. Other than that, I wouldn't advise you to go crazy and spend so much money, because when you're selling the house, most of the upgrade that you're going to do is probably not going to get it back. And then every state is different. Like where I live in Texas, so the way they do it in Texas is all based on how much the size of the home, right? So if somebody is selling a home that is, let's say, 3,000 square feet, and the same home with the same amenity that is maybe 2,000 square feet, obviously the one that is 3,000 square feet is going to cost more
Yeah.
than the one that is 2,000 square feet. So that being said, if you are going to improve something, you're going to do an upgrade, you want to do something that is going to improve the square footage, right?
Yeah.
If you can do that, you probably make more money when you're selling in terms of, value for your money. But let's say you go and you say, hey, I'm going to put some, like Gucci, some really very expensive things on the floor. I mean, you might make a little bit money back when you're selling, but it's not going to be a whole lot, So I would just stick with my budget. Whatever you have, just work with that. If you're going to go, maybe if you go over, maybe 10,000, 5,000 is okay, but I wouldn't go like crazy, because the most important thing is you get a house.
Yeah.
After you get a house, any upgrade that you want to do, you can do it while you're in the house. If you want to change the flooring, you can do it. if you want to change the kitchen, you can do it. So,
Right.
yeah, that's what I would advise.
I say for yeah, the money I say I'm say yeah, but no, I be honest, but before you be end no, but say any solo the book no once you come back to the book no, but be a book no, you be first you be be and the number so owia or the better ama yen so ohia and now here and be on the real estate wobɛtumi afrɛ no na wofrɛ ɛrawa number no nso a yɛbɛ link wo with yɛnnua no na question wansa bɛ sɛ wotumi yɛ wotumi yɛ no baabi a anaasɛ only taxes nko a ɛno bɛyɛ
Yeah, right now, we are
once
only in
number
Texas.
ɛtu dwa no na wama yɛ saa ɛyi no na afei woarekap no nyinaa wama yɛ saa mmerɛ kɛ sɛ yɛde dwumadeɛ no ba na wie yɛ a no
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, right now we are only in Texas, but we have affiliation with other people in all over US.
Okay.
So if you call me, we have friends all over. I can recommend you people that we know and do great job. So, but that being said, if you want to buy my book and you want to learn about personal finance to be able to help yourself and your family and to be able to create generational wealth, you can find us on Amazon. And the book title is Journey to Personal Finance Literacy by Solomon Oppong. And my number is 260-403-2213.
260
403-2213.
03
2213.
2213.
I think you already have it, so
On the screen.
yeah. So if any of the audience, you have questions about real estate or my book, you read a book and you have any question that you don't understand, or maybe you just trying to help your kid, be able to understand about savings, finance, and or they want to get into real estate, you have questions, just call me. Just call me anytime. Yeah. So, but I will encourage everybody. Just start with what you have and what you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, atiefoɔ yɛbɛda mu nyinaa ase sɛ ɛnyɛ anwummerɛ so mɔbaa ma yɛakasa bɛ 1 hour nie wanyɛ you can't believe it na nsɛ no bi wɔ a ne book no ankasɛ mebisa no ba na yɛyɛ ayi no ntia no the next time wɔ sɛ more free income ne book no watwerɛ baabi more free income and the writer ɔba bi a ɔbɛkyerɛ more free income ɛno yɛti obi ɛpɛ free income sɛ nyame abɔ no ɔhu baabi ɛwɔ a ɛsɛ wɔkyerɛ sɛ wɔ taxes buo bi ase a yɛmmra ne nyinaa ma bɛtu bi ana wɔsan sɛ secret to financial security secret no a ɛwɔ hɔ financial security no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛma no unlock na yɛn nyinaa yɛnya kwan de yɛn ho wura mu bi nti ɛnɛ deɛ yɛn ha no mehyɛ dɛ na yɛango through book no papa yɛankɔ detail deɛ ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ hɔ na yɛpɛ sɛ yɛde nam ani ha yi a sɛ w'ani gye ho a next time yɛde bɛba soɔ no yɛde bɛba soɔ no yɛbɛma wayɛ aware na afei wo nso waba sɛdeɛ ma wɔsɛ more free to income next time wabɛkyerɛ mu na secret to financial yi no yɛbɛma no akyerɛkyerɛ mu pa akɔ aseɛ nti bɔbɔden biara na ɛbɛ no so a waba me nua yɛda wase bebrebe nyame nhyira wo sɛ waba program yi so na ɔne yɛ abɛtwetwe nkɔmmɔ atiefoɔ nyinaa nso mambɔ ala no so bɔ a mohwɛ afiri youtube ne facebook nyinaa so ɛna radio no si nyinaa nso no yɛda mo ase bebrebe sɛ mobaeɛ mo na moaba ma program atumi ayɛ questions a mo test yɛ nyinaa nso yɛbusabusa bi wɔntumi ammusa wo deɛ ama ne haw next time ɔbɛsen aba menim time no deɛ but mene sɛ ɔbɛba ɔbɛba na yɛasan atoa yɛn nkɔmmɔ twetwe no so yɛda wase bebrebe me nua nyame adom a yɛbɛsa akasa nyame nhyira
All right. Thank you, Dr. Otis. Bye, everybody.